You're going to want to start preparing yourself for a custody matter anytime you're going through a divorce and you have children, because at some point you're going to need custody orders. Whether that means that you and your spouse are able to reach an agreement, put that in writing, and here's your parenting plan, or it means going to court, having a judge decide. You will need some orders. At the end of your divorce, if you have children, this court's going to make some orders about the parenting plan of your child. Or alternatively, if you were never married to the mother or father of your child and you guys just aren't working out, things aren't working out as far as your child, of course, and you're not happy with the extent of child sharing, you're going to need some orders. You're going to want to go to court, you're going to want to file a parentage action, you're going to want to ask for custody orders, something in writing that's enforceable. Because until you have something in writing, you really don't have a lot of rights there, because there's no way to enforce what time your kid's with you, what days your kids are with you. But if you have it in writing, there you go. Now you have an order that's enforceable. It doesn't really matter what's best for your family, because it's going to come down to what's best for the child. California, we use a best interest standard. So a judge doesn't really care if this schedule works for you and your family. It's about the child. And if you and the other parent can't reach an agreement, if you guys can't decide what's the best custody schedule for our child, a judge is going to decide. And I'll tell you that 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be 100% happy with what the judge orders. So joint custody can really work a lot of different ways. You could have joint custody of your child, but really that can mean you only have 30%. So a lot of people think joint custody means 50-50, and that's not always true, because again, you can have joint custody but have less time than the other parent. And then as far as a parenting plan, a joint custody plan, really there's so many different ways to come up with a parenting plan. It could be a week-on, week-off schedule where your child is with one parent during one week, with you the other week. It could be, the child lives with you during the week, the school week, and then alternating weekends with the other parent. It could be a 2-2-3 or a 2-2-5 plan, which means that during the week, the child exchanges every 2 days with the other parent, and then you have the 3-day weekend alternating with one parent. So there's a lot of different ways, and you can be really creative with the parenting plan. It really comes down to what's best for this child, what works for everybody. And if you don't like, a week-on, week-off schedule, if you don't like this 2-2-3, alternating weekends, whatever it is, be creative. So your chances of getting custody, let me ask you, are you a former alcoholic, a recovering alcoholic? Are you a drug addict? Do you have all these CWS allegations, substantiated allegations against you? And if your answers are no, no, and no, your chances of getting custody are pretty high. However, that doesn't mean you're gonna have joint custody, you're gonna have 50% of your child, because if your concern is, I wanna see my kid half the time, it's gonna come down to what's in the child's best interest? What's the child's schedule? Does your kid have after school activities and sports and other things that he or she is involved with? What's your schedule? A lot of times a parent's work schedule is very important in a custody matter, in a custody case, because the judge wants to know, who's going to pick up this child, who's going to take care of this child after school, and who's going to be there to make sure that this child gets to his or her activities, gets to the doctor's appointments, and their needs are met on a daily basis. So as far as having custody half the time, it depends. There's no straightforward answer for that. It's going to come down to what works for the child.